Welcome to Cuisine with Jean, and I'm delighted that I'm joined today by Hope Edwards. We're in a Bible study together, and actually the young man, Alex, and his father, Robert, who came, Dwyer, who did some cooking, she saw them, and she said, then in a class right after that, she said, I think I'd like to do that. And Hope, you as a farmer in Nash County, you and your husband are farmers, you do what, YouTube or Facebook, or where do you teach people how to do cooking and what to do?
We primarily use our farm Facebook page, which is M&H Edwards Farm.
M-N-H or M-N-H?
M and like the and symbol, H, Edwards Farm.
Okay.
And we're in Nashville, right outside of Nashville. And so we use our Facebook page to let people know where they can purchase our produce and when and what's in season. And also I try to give helpful hints about how to cook and prepare things for people that maybe aren't familiar with, putting produce in their everyday menu.
And this beautiful produce, by the way. But you and your husband are very much of a team in your farm, right? That's great. Was it in one of your family before y'all got married, or?
Yes, my husband is a fourth generation farmer, and he's always lived in Nashville. And he grew up, of course, learning from his grandfather and his father about how to steward the land and just take care of what God had provided for them to farm. And so he was he's the youngest of three boys. The older two went into other areas of work, but my husband Mike was always a farmer through and through. It's in his blood. And so he kind of took what was passed down to him, and then he added his own spin on things. We've become independent contractors with Purdue Farms. We have 4 chicken houses with Purdue, and he's been doing that for about 26 years. And in the last couple of years, we've started growing more produce with our pumpkins in the fall and our produce throughout the year because we are no longer farming tobacco. And so we had to diversify. And
why did you quit tobacco? Was it just not as profitable as it once was, or the type of labor it required, or you just wanted to do something different?
We've always, here in Eastern North Carolina, tobacco is a cash crop. I mean, if you farmed back in the 70s and the 80s, you had to grow tobacco in order to thrive, to make a living, to provide for your family. As the years went on, tobacco industry changed. And we are a small farm. We're under 500 acres, and we're a small family farm. And in order to have the labor and the labor costs going up and fuel costs, land rent costs, we don't own most of the land that we rent from landowners. And so all of those factors, including some bad years with tobacco, we just decided that this was not a direction that we needed to continue in. And the door opened for us to really start to flourish with the produce, still grow row crops, corn and soybeans, some cover crops, pumpkins, a lot of pumpkins. But of course that's seasonal. And so produce was something we wanted to do year round, which led us to putting up a greenhouse and trying the hydroponics.
And a lot of you watching, I hope you know what hydroponic is, but we're going to talk about what it is, because if you notice, these have the roots down in the water. That's been around for quite a while, that method of farming. And tell us the advantages of it, Hope.
There are so many advantages, really. The main one for us was just there's no one around here in the Nash, Edgecombe, Wilson County area that does a lot of hydroponics. There have been some farms that have tried it for a while. This is something that we felt like there was definitely a market for, that we were hoping to find kind of a niche. And hydroponics is not, we can be much more climate controlled because it's all in a greenhouse facility. We can control when you plant in the soil, there are things in the soil that you cannot control. There are things that in the environment you can't control. Weather.
Wow.
Those sort of things. And so we can control a lot of the elements in the environment in order to produce a product that would be the most, the healthiest and the most beneficial. And so also land is getting sold. The land that we've rented for generations in my husband's family, from people in our community, they are beginning to sell that off. And so we can grow in a greenhouse. Our greenhouse is 35 feet by 72 feet. In that amount of space, we can grow so much more than you could in the same amount of space in the soil.
And so, year round? Can you do it year round?
We can. Yeah, we're just learning. We just put up the greenhouse in February of last year, so it's been a full year. And lettuce has kind of been our thing, but
Was
we've
that
also tried some
scary?
other
I mean,
things.
that was a big leap. I mean, the expense of the greenhouse and
Yes.
whatnot. So that had to be very
It was
much
a leap of faith.
Yeah.
And my husband, this is something he's always wanted to try with hydroponics. He had researched it and we had read a lot about it. We had traveled places and talked to folks about it that had done hydroponics for years. And we just said, let's just try it. And he was able to, we buy a lot of equipment used. As I said, we're a small family farm. So we bought a used greenhouse. We had to go and take it down, bring it back and assemble it with a work crew. We mostly have teenage boys that work for us, our sons and some of their friends. And so they built wooden tables to put our troughs in, and my husband is he's a very smart man, and he was able to figure it out. A lot of trial and error, but I think he's gotten to the place where he's understanding
handy people.
it.
I mean, I'm married to one, and
Yes,
he had
very
cotton for a
resourceful.
long time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's not a going to hire somebody to do it. We're going to do it ourselves. We're
That's
going
right.
to, get in there
Get
and
it
it's
done.
a trial and error. But I tell you, the thing that really was such a challenge for him was Floyd, and then after that,
Yeah.
I remember one summer it didn't rain a drop the whole summer, and it's just unless you've been involved with farmers, it's really hard. And so to have the controlled environment, I think that was you definitely are glad you made that move.
Oh yeah, and it is. I mean, it's healthy. This is healthier product than tobacco.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
definitely than tobacco, but it's also the nutrients and all the
Yes.
Tell us, Hope, how you grow this, and this is part of what we're doing. She's going to make salad dressing and show us some other things. But I really, when Hope said she was going to come and talk, I said, educate us on why we would want these particular lettuces and nutritionally and what's done with them. So help us understand that.
There's several different methods to growing hydroponically. What we decided to use were called NFTs, and that stands for nutrient film technique. And it's basically just kind of a plastic trough. And ours are, let's see, I wrote down the measurements. My husband's the expert on this. Ours are about 18 feet long. And so they have holes in them. And then what we do is we order the lettuce seeds, different varieties. We've tried different varieties. Certain ones grow better in our climate, our environment. And so the seeds come, they're very tiny. And then we put them in a plastic tray that has these little sponge-like squares. And then so we seed the lettuce, and then we take that into a propagation table with special lights, and that germinates the seed. And once the seed begins to sprout after about, let's see how long it germinates for. It germinates for just a few days. And once that begins to sprout, we pop out those little square sponges and we put them in the NFT trays in the holes. And then there's a water system with a pump, a tank, and that water flows through all those NFT trays 24/7, constantly. So it's like having a child, really, because my husband has to baby it. And so that water is filtered, and then we add the nutrients in when needed, and then it goes through the roots, and it keeps it watered, it keeps it hydrated, and it gives it the nutrients that it needs. And then within a few weeks, depending on the type of variety of lettuce, within a few weeks, we have
it's fully grown.
Within in the summer, it takes less time because there's more sun exposure, more daylight hours in the greenhouse. We do have a shade cloth that we put on the top of the greenhouse in the heat of the summer.
Do you have to air condition it? Does it get too hot in there?
This is another thing that we've learned is cool cells is what we use on one end of the greenhouse. And so that brings the temperature down considerably.
What are cool cells?
Cool cells is basically, the concept is just a wall on one end of the greenhouse that's been replaced with, it looks kind of like a ventilation system, but water runs like a water wall. And then that air runs through the cool water, and then that
blows that
that cool out. And so you can definitely tell, when the cool cells are running. And my husband uses the same method in the chicken houses as well.
And so it's triggered to come on when the temperature gets a certain degree
Right, or he
hot.
can, or he can control it.
And same thing with the chickens.
Yes,
keep them comfortable.
Yes, got to keep them comfortable.
Of course, Purdue is always saying, and I'm glad you partnered with them, but they are very careful about what the chickens eat and not antibiotics and free and all that stuff. So, that's something that parents and people for themselves are just asking all the time to have very, very healthy chickens. So I guess they give you all, these are what.
Yes, biosecurity is a big deal with Purdue. We don't let people in and out of our chicken houses. They are commercial birds, but they are treated very well. They're fed well. 65,000 chickens is a lot of chickens.
Whoa.
And I joke with my husband about how he knows them by name, which 65,000 chickens in 4 houses. But he is, if you don't do something for 26 years without doing it well.
Yeah. And
he definitely has found his way in that. And so he's learned a lot over the years about how to put 100% into things. He works about 90 hours a week.
Wow.
And he's on call when he's not working because of the livestock and the lettuce. And so, he's
what's kind of your role in this, Hope?
I basically serve as, we had our oldest child. He'll be 18 later this year. And so I was able to stay at home with him when he was little. And then his brother came along a few years later. And so I was a stay-at-home mom. That was what my husband and I always wanted. But then once our youngest started preschool, I began to take a more active role. And so I helped a lot with I'm kind of the gopher to go and get things. And then I support with marketing and promotion and things like that. I do paperwork, bookkeeping. It's not really my forte, but,
you do what's necessary.
Payroll, things like that. You kind of, my husband has this expression, when the ox is in a ditch, you just have to get the ox out of the ditch. And so I've learned how to get the ox out of the ditch when necessary. So I'm kind of the go-to girl, and he's the brains behind the operation. And
I tend to think you've got a lot of the brains behind the operation too. Well, if people are looking at this thinking, wow, this is beautiful, and I like supporting local farmers, golly, where do you sell your produce?
We do sell from our farm seasonally, and so that information is always on our Facebook page, because that does change from time to time. But the Nashville Farmers Market, we are about a mile from the Nashville Farmers Market, which just started up a couple of years ago, and it's at the Nashville Junction, which is new in Nashville. They're on Barnes Street, and that's begins in April through October, and that is on Friday afternoons from 3 to 7 p.m. So we are always there. We're one of the anchor vendors there. And then also with the Nash County Farmers Market, which is at the Rocky Mount location on Peachtree Street.
In the mills.
In the mills. And that is also runs from April to November. That goes a little bit longer.
And you're there also during that time?
We're there. That's on Saturdays. Every Saturday from April to November from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. And we've been vendors there for many years.
And what besides lettuce? That this time of year, the hydroponic lettuce. I started thinking, maybe I'm saying it wrong. But that's available. Maybe roadside occasionally. But what in the summertime are some of the things, other crops that you have available?
We grow squash, cabbage, peppers, okra, broccoli, cauliflower. I know I'm forgetting some things. Zucchini.
Your family must be healthy.
So many things.
Boys eat all that stuff? That just sounds fabulous.
From time to time. My husband and I, we grew up in the South. He's from Nashville. I'm from Rocky Mount. And so we grew up with a lot of fried produce and things like that. And so I have learned over the years, air fryer, grill, saute, some different ways to do it. But we still like to do a little deep frying every now and then.
Well, I'm married to somebody who definitely grew up that way. And the first time I had squash at his house, I couldn't identify it as squash. His mother made it because she had that much bacon grease in a cast iron pan, and she pureed it, she cooked it, mashed it down, and it absorbed all the bacon grease. And so it was just like a spoonful of soft stuff.
Yes.
And it was like, okay,
what's
is squash.
inside this? Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So you're going to make, and we're going to take a break and then come back and do this, but you're going to make one of your favorite recipes for salad dressing?
Yes, we do try to eat a little bit healthier, and so we learned to make our own salad dressing and cut down a little on the calories and the sugar. And so that's what I'm going to make today.
And do you do most of the cooking for the family, or do your sons jump in and help some, or your husband?
I do most of it. My husband uses the Blackstone and the grill every now and then, but because of his work schedule, I cook basically 5 to 6 days a week.
With that many men to feed, you're having to cook.
Teenage boys, they do like to eat.
So
yes, and I like to cook. It's the cleaning part that I don't really like.
I don't think any of us love that part, so you're in good company there. We're going to take a break, and we're going to jump right into having Hope make this for us and get this when we return. And we're back, and I was asking Hope during the break if she ever has school groups come out. And for the pumpkins?
Yes.
What fun. Pumpkin farms. Yay. This is a good area climate-wise for pumpkins, right? So they do really well here.
Certain varieties, there's certain Curbo Maxima, which is like the scientific name for certain types of varieties of pumpkins. They grow better in a humid environment. We have different pumpkins that we grow here than they grow in the western part of the state or even up north, just because we have the humid weather here. So we have to be careful about that because of things that can grow on pumpkins that you don't want when you're growing them.
And you really, these aren't organic, what you grow, produce, but you really use very little pesticides or anything in what you grow, correct?
Right. And in our greenhouse, we are not certified organic, but we do use only OMRI approved nutrients and things that help and that means it's approved for organic farming. But we haven't gone through the process of certification. But people need to understand that there are some organically approved pesticides and fungicides because those are the things people don't want bugs on their food. And so those are the things that have to be used. That can be used safely for consumption, and we make sure we practice that in our greenhouse. And then on the rest of our farm, we try to maintain sustainable agriculture where we use as little as possible to produce the desired product, and so that's kind of our practice.
Good to know. Okay, the dressing.
Yes. This is what I call a healthy honey mustard dressing. I love honey mustard. My husband probably uses about half a bottle of dressing on one salad. And so I had to find a way to make it a little bit healthier for him because of all those hidden sugars and things. So this is kind of a little bit of a tanginess to the honey mustard itself. But so I use a Dijon mustard. So like I said, that has a little bit of a tang to it. But
I think putting a lot of dressing and whatnot is kind of a guy thing. Don't
you
think?
Yes.
Do your sons do it too?
Yes.
Because we had grandkids this weekend, and after they ate pizza, they wanted to have ranch dressing. I said, on your pizza? They said, with the crust. You don't expect me to eat the crust by itself, do you?
That's ranch right. Yes, they have to douse it in something there. Yeah. So I put 2 tablespoons of the Dijon mustard. And if you don't like the Dijon mustard, you can use a spicy brown mustard or just something that has a little bit of a kick to it. So that's what I use.
And while you're doing that, if y'all want to get something to write on, I'll be glad shortly to give you the ingredients. They will be on our website, Cuisine with Jean. But I realize that some people don't have a computer, and so we'll be glad to read them. And do you make it ahead of time and put it in the refrigerator, Hope?
I do. Sometimes
or you make it as you need it.
It kind of depends. So most of the time I try to make it ahead, and then the flavors do kind of, mold together a little bit better. I think if it can be in the refrigerator for a little while. But we have eaten it, right after I've made it as well. So kind of depends on the circumstances. And then whatever is left is fine. We've had it in our refrigerator for 10 days, up to 10 days after. So it's 2 tablespoons of the Dijon mustard and then 2 tablespoons of honey. And we try to use a local honey, not store-bought, just because it's a better product, and it's also helpful, more healthy as well. So
and supporting other people in our area.
Yes. And then the avocado oil is the oil that we use. You could also use grapeseed oil or olive oil. This is what the original recipe calls for. So this is kind of what I usually go to. And there's 3 tablespoons of that.
And do you find that it varies in taste quite a bit according to which variety of lettuce you use? Or are there ones that your family likes more than others?
Yeah, that's a good question. You kind of migrate to what you like.
Mm-hmm.
And so the one that my husband and I prefer is a green leaf lettuce, and it's called Muir. And right now we have about 8 different varieties growing in our greenhouse, and that is a green leaf, like a rough leaf. And so I usually it's a big leaf you can use for a wrap or a sandwich or a salad. But in a salad, we just kind of cut it up. And then we have a spring mix that I have in there. We grow a red leaf lettuce, which is green, but it kind of has red on the tips. And that is some of that's in there too, spring mix. And then we grow like a butter crunch Bibb lettuce. And there's several different varieties of that, and they all have names. And so
he names them and the chickens, right?
Yeah, he names everything. Gotcha. So we order seeds from the book. It's Rex, Casey, Adriana. We grow romaine. We grow Swiss chard. My husband and I don't really like to eat Swiss chard, so we kind of shy away from that. But it is beautiful when it grows. I have some pictures of that I can show you. So we also so the Dijon mustard, the honey, the lemon juice, lemon juice. The lemon. I need to put that. And there's 1 tablespoon of that, but I don't usually measure that.
And they say there are 2 tablespoons of juice in every lemon, so about half a lemon is.
Yep. So I went ahead and cut this one and just squeeze that in there. And then the dry seasonings, I've already mixed those up. That's half of a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of pepper, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, and 1/4 of a teaspoon of paprika. And so just put those in.
And you developed this, or you got this recipe from somebody else?
I generally find recipes online, and then I tweak them and kind of add my own and take out what I know my family won't like. And so this is where I got this from. This is the skeleton of it, and then I added a few things to kind of make it my own. So once you add all those together in a bowl, use a whisk to really incorporate the flavors and get them melded together.
And it looks the consistency of what we're used to, like at Chick-fil-A and whatnot, where we get honey mustard. But how nice that you make your own. That's great.
I mean, if you're not really concerned about calories and fat, and you want to make it a little creamier, adding some mayo would be very good. But we try to keep it as healthy as possible. The honey is what sweetens it up a bit without adding granulated sugar. And
one of the many things I like about your lettuce is when I buy lettuce in the grocery store, and of course by default, a lot of us have to do that when you're not open, but there are preservatives put all over everything. And by buying them from farmers market, you can avoid all those extra chemicals, even if they're just preservatives. And I've read that if they're triple washed and in a bag, you still need to wash them. I mean, I take Nutrition Action. They said, do not, if it says it's been washed, you still need to wash it and, spin it dry again, because it's got preservatives on it.
Definitely. And I'm really glad you said that, because and not even just the preservatives, but the way that it was picked and prepared. We follow pretty stringent measures in our greenhouse. We always wear gloves. And we have aprons that we wear in our greenhouse because, people coming in and we don't let a lot of traffic in and out. So when we come in, whenever we're handling the lettuce, whenever we pick the lettuce, prepare it for the greenhouse, prepare it for the farmer's market or to sell, we always wear gloves. And then we package it or we bag it. And then we always advise people, we have not had a lot of hands touch this at all. And it's always been gloved. And so, but when you go home, just rinse it with cool water, lay it out to dry, or get a salad spinner to kind of dry it. That's what we use at home. So we do eat a lot of salad. And so that's when you buy at the grocery store, it has probably been picked for several weeks and has sat in a warehouse in the back of a grocery store, on a truck, on ice. When you get our lettuce, it will last weeks.
Wow.
In the refrigerator. If you keep it in a cool temperature, relatively dry, sometimes I'll put just a damp paper towel in there. I wash it generally right before we eat it. And it's just a rinse, not like a major wash or anything, because like I said, we've used so few things on it, it's very safe to eat. My husband usually eats it right out of the greenhouse. He'll just go by and pick up a leaf and eat it. So it hasn't hurt him yet. But that's usually what I do. And then I'll have it in a big bowl in the refrigerator so the kids can go in there and fix the salad, and it's already prepared. And we've done experiments to see how long it will last. And I've had certain varieties last over a month, and just as fresh as the day that we picked them. And so when we prepare them for the farmer's market or to sell at our farm, we pick it the day of the sale. And so it's as fresh, and we put it in a clear clamshell. We sell it like that. The spring mix and romaine we sell in a clear bag, so people can see what it looks like, see what they're getting. And so it's a healthy alternative.
As healthy as it can be. Okay, we're going to take a break and we're going to taste it. Okay?
Sounds good.
Stay with us. So you're going to prepare it with extra.
Yes, I've brought some of our favorite salad ingredients, and we grow a lot of this on our farm, but this time of year we do not. So I have to rely on the local store for that. So
well, you're a little bit spoiled with always having the freshest and best tasting of varieties, aren't you?
Yes, and we have not had
which
to
you
purchase,
deserve for how much you work to do it.
We have not had to purchase lettuce for over a year now. We've had something growing. This is a mix of a green leaf and also a bib lettuce, and then a spring mix. So this is kind of a mix of everything that has that's growing now. And so I'm just going to put that in there, and then some grilled chicken. I prepared this ahead of time in our air fryer. So grilled chicken is easy. You just put your favorite seasoning, pop it in the air fryer or oven, or however you like to cook it on the grill, and then it's good to go. So you can put it right on there.
And I've had friends who've been given an air fryer as a gift, and they end up giving it away without trying it.
Oh, no.
But I really like ours, especially for like chicken wings and vegetables. We've even done like panko on okra. Sliced it long way and put panko on it and spray it with a little bit of Pam, olive oil Pam, and so good, folks. And you really save a lot of the extra calories, and you have the kind of the crispy fried taste without having to have all the extra calories.
Yeah. And we do grow tomatoes in season, lots of tomatoes, and so that's something that we will have
outside or inside.
They're outside. We've not tried growing them in the greenhouse yet, but that is probably on my husband's list.
Good.
But who doesn't love a field grown tomato?
Oh yeah.
There's just something about having to wipe the dirt off a tomato. No, our lettuce never touches the dirt.
Spoken like a true farmer's wife.
And this lettuce is great for salads, for wraps, for BLTs. And for sandwiches, burgers, that sort of thing.
Hope I'm going to remember that. Who doesn't like to wipe dirt off of tomatoes? That's cute.
A lot of people at the farmer's market won't buy it unless there's dirt on it. So
okay.
And then
kind of authenticity, or is what's the?
That's right. They want to make sure that it is field grown. So, and I don't blame them. So we're going to put that on there, and then I usually just drizzle it on there with a spoon.
Okay.
And
we are running out of time, but I really do want to taste it.
Drizzle that on there.
It's so pretty too, and healthy. And I mean, who wouldn't want to give this?
Oh, this is
to
my
their
go-to
family?
when I go to a potluck or something. I always bring salad now. People look forward to that, so that's fun. What do you think?
That is really good. All the difference in the world having homemade honey mustard dressing. This is really good, and the ingredients were on the screen, and so we should start looking for you in Nashville starting in April. And Farmers Market. When does the meal one open up?
It's the first Saturday in April is the one in Rocky Mount. The Nash County Farmers Market begins, and that's 8 to 1 every Saturday from April through November. And then the Nashville Farmers Market begins, I believe, the second Friday in April. And that's on Fridays from 3 to 7 p.m.
Thank you. Folks, this is absolutely wonderful. And I learned so much too.
Yes.
You educated us.
Yes.
So great. Thank you. And I hope you'll come back again sometime.
Yeah, look forward to it.
Great. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.